I don't know, but I thought Ernest Jones fit in pretty well, and I think next week is going to be even better. I think I don't know he's going to get 15 tackles, but I think it's gonna help to have been in the system for a while. But is that system working? And that's where, to me, I feel like the run defense, there's lots of problems. Here's what bothered me the most about it is that for the first time I started thinking, do we have the right players? Because there's a couple of times where, like, let's just say on the edge, where you have leverage and you're supposed to turn the play back in, and you saw guys get in, and I'm like looking at them going, okay, that's perfect, good, you're in, and then they didn't make the play. Mm-hmm. The ball gets outside. So, and look, I think ultimately, especially the guys out on the edge, I think they're pretty good. I think we have pretty good corners, and I think we have good defensive ends, but it just wasn't getting executed. So I don't know what's going on with that. Kind of interesting, Bob. I was looking at the Ravens. They have the number one run defense right now, and they have Zach Orr is their defensive coordinator, and he was a linebacker coach for the Ravens. And so they're allowing like 69 yards or something like that, under 70 per game. And you look where the Seahawks are. It's not good. They're
29th.
They're number 29.
And how many teams are there?
32.
32 teams. So,
yeah. So, that part really bothers me just because last year that was the biggest problem. And, and it's pretty simple. And if you get pushed around, coaches love to run the ball. And and then, you go on the other side and you could say, well, that might be a bigger problem offensively. But yeah, I think that's something that you just start there. And that's what I noticed about them last year. And, and I think last year, the year before that, they were like number 3, number 2. Last year they were like top 10. So, but I'm just curious what's going on with the run defense because, I thought you upgraded at inside backer, and then, you went out and gave up 100 yards to a guy, albeit he's a Pro Bowler, but that still it was tough to watch.
Is it? And I've asked this before, but now we're at the halfway essentially. It's 17 games, so you don't have an official halfway. You're 8 games in the books, so it's no longer, hey, it's early, we're still figuring out. You're at the midpoint of the season. Is this? Should we just be real about it and look at this team and go, you know what? This is a middling team. This is a mediocre team. That's who they are. They don't. When they play well, when they play really clean, they can beat most teams, but they are not good enough to get in their own way. They're not good enough to overcome mistakes that other really good teams can make mistakes and overcome them, or they can have a day where they can't run the ball, but they're so good elsewhere that they can make up for it. Seahawks don't really have slack anywhere as I see it. After watching this team for 8 games, I'm looking at them going, yeah, there's some nice players. You can point to this guy, that guy, like what he does here, there. But collectively, I feel like they are, the old Bill Parcells. You are what your record says you are. This is a middling 500 team.
Yeah, I'm not willing to go there yet. Not yet. I still think that was a really gritty, good win on the road last year. So to me, I feel like it's very. What's that?
Last year.
What did I say? Last year?
Yeah.
Last week.
Yeah.
Last week against Atlanta. It just, to me, I still think, I feel like they can come back and possibly beat a good team, and they're going to get tested. You look at Sean McVay and what he does offensively, that was a really good win they had over Minnesota. And, that's going to be a huge test for them. So, we'll see. And I'll think next week, if we're talking about a really bad game and a loss to the Rams at home, then I might be more on your side,
Yeah, I think they're capable. And hey, here's the other part, and we'll talk more about this. They're certainly capable of being a playoff team because this division is giving them and every other team in this division an opportunity. You got 3 teams at 4-4, and then you got the Rams who've played 3-4. They had a bye week already. So they're in last place technically. The Cardinals are technically in first place, which feels weird, but okay.
Yeah.
So it's right there. It's right there for them. You still got you've played 1 division game so far against the 49ers. So everything's in front of them. They can still get things done. They can still certainly get to the postseason. But I feel like it's a team that doesn't have the ability to overcome self-inflicted wounds. They can't play They've got to play absolutely clean football in order to beat the good teams. And I don't know. We'll see if they look dramatically different against the Rams. I don't expect it. I feel like if we're talking about have they been more good or more bad, there's been a lot more that's concerning than you're optimistic about, I would say, to this point.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, you beat the 5-3 Atlanta Falcons. You had 3 series in a row in the fourth quarter. Couldn't have been better timing that you come up with a takeaway. And a couple of them were Kirk Cousins kind of sailing the ball, right? He kind of threw those to us. So, you wonder, okay, maybe that's my one sort of reservation about the win in Atlanta as to whether or not it's, that significant. You got the 3 takeaways there, and sometimes they're luck. Sometimes you work hard for them. According to Boye Mafe, you work hard for them and they come to you. But now all of a sudden I start questioning. Maybe it was just the 3 takeaways, and you got a touchdown on defense, and maybe that's where that win came from. But man, yeah, that was really tough to watch. There was a lot of, like you said, self-inflicted wounds.
Mike McDonald, after the game, he was asked if this loss is indicative of where they are as a team.
I think that's a good question. We talk about stacking wins around here, and when you're going on and off, back and forth, it's frustrating. You want to be able to build on the good things that we're doing, so we can get our program to where we want it to go. And then when you take steps back like today, it's very sobering. It's frustrating, and but this is the NFL, and if you don't bring it and have your best against good teams, you're not going to win those games. So our guys know that, and us as coaches, we got to prepare our guys the best we can. We got to call great games. This whole thing has to keep coming together. So, but time is ticking, as we say. we're about halfway through the season now, and but you take a step back. We're right in the thick of it in the division, and this game coming up is going to be a big one.
Yeah, he said it right there. It's you're at the halfway point of the season, essentially. You got all your conference games, your division games, I should say, in front of you, other than the 49ers matchup. So they can get it done. This is not me saying, season's over, cash it in. I saw a lot of that last night. But I don't blame anybody that was mad, frustrated with what they saw, especially if they paid to sit out there in the rain and watch this and deal with traffic and parking, and you go out there and going, what in the hell is going on? Snap 5 feet over Gino's head, his foot getting stepped on, the turnovers, penalty. There were 8 million flags in that game. What were there, 25, 26 combined penalties?
Total, yeah.
It was just a weird, ugly, uncomfortable game.
Yeah.
Everything about it was just, ugh.